Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for another few gameplays. This time, if you can't tell by the title, I have a couple games with Rashi, Eternities Crafter. And you'll notice I have a loss here for one of my games today, so we'll be going through that as well. Pretty cool interaction that I didn't see coming, and I should have had I had the counter to be able to stop it from happening, and I just didn't think it through. So we'll get to that. This one, the opponent timed out, so we're just not going to touch the gameplay. So I got 3 for you here. Let's see. I haven't looked at the gameplays yet. Hopefully they work fine. Let's pop out the revealed section. That's the only thing that matters. Commanders. Alright, here we go. So I have Rashi Eternities Crafter against Kaalia of the Vast. Very good. So Kaalia has spiked significantly in price. In paper, I think she's above $50 now. She puts angels, demons, and dragons into play when she attacks, so she's quite potent. She puts them into play attacking as well. So my plan right here is I need to get Shackles online. If I can turn Shackles on before Kaalia can attack, I can take Kaalia and strand most of those big things in the hand. Really where Kaalia decks want to be is having that insanely broken mana start. Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal are all played in, I think, the most tuned Kaalia lists, because getting her into play on turn 1 to 2 and attacking as fast as possible, just like a Zur deck, is the main priority. So I keep a hand. This was a preordained that turned into Sylvan Library, and I pushed something else at the bottom. I'm looking for lands here, but I can't pass up on the Sylvan Library. Spine Rock Knoll. Alright, so I immediately know that this isn't as tuned a Kaalia list, because that deck list does not play tap lands. So I feel a little bit safer now. I might have time to have this Merchant Scroll go and get Force or Drain if I have the mana open. I'm, of course, going to leave the Sylvan Library here, because Kaalia is sort of an all-in glass cannon style deck, and my way to be that is if I can survive the first shot of the cannon, I can dismantle it afterwards. So that's my plan here, and if I can really ramp out like crazy or keep them stalled long enough, Amnesia is going to clean this up and mind twist them away. Pick up a Memory Lapse, so that's a pretty fantastic draw here. See, Pongify Metamorph, and I believe I pay the full Monty here, because my life total, even though it's an aggro deck, isn't really going to matter here. If they put something like Sire of Insanity into play, there's no coming back from that for me. Or something like, I think Sire of Insanity is probably the most dangerous thing that they could put into play. But I really don't have any comeback. Like, sure, Sylvan draws me into it, but I'm being clocked for 8 a turn from their board, not my board. And they'll have whatever is underneath Spine Rock Knoll. So my life total, while it's minorly relevant, it's not going to be the thing that wins or loses me this game. So, of course, I'm going to take the 8, try to dig deeper and deeper into my deck. And I'm going to Merchant Scroll here, and I want to flash this mana drain here. If my opponent doesn't have a fast mana next turn, it means if I get a second blue in my next 3 cards, I have a very good chance of them not playing Kaalia because of mana drain. Just right off curve, here comes the Borer Signet. That is fine by me. And they went Gilgate into check land, so I'm feeling pretty good about the mana here. Find the island. Exactly what I need there. So I'm going to take the 8 again, because I have some stuff that I don't think that's going to matter this game. I know I'm going to be discarding 2, so I paid 8 to double loot instead of double draw. So it hurts a little bit, but I just need to keep clearing the top of my deck. I don't have a shuffle effect, so this is my best chance of getting new lands. And I'm going to take a moment. Sylvan Library draws you cards the first draw step that you start with. You have it in play, and it gets its ability. The following draw step, if you didn't take 8 on the prior one, or if you didn't take any damage from the prior draw step, you are not seeing new cards. You're back to seeing 1 new card every turn. To make it able to see you multiple new cards every turn, you have to at least take 4. Otherwise, it is no longer digging you. It is done digging cards. You need to guarantee that you are seeing new cards every turn to keep that dig going. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. Phyrexian Metamorph, if they put something into play, Phyrexian Metamorph's not going to be as good because they already got it down. And I don't have something like a Sol Ring to really go crazy with Metamorph. Acidic Slime, even though Mana Drain could feed into the slime pretty well, I'm pretty far away from that. If I had known where my opponent was going to end up, I probably would have kept the slime and pitched the Jace away, actually. And you'll see why in a sec. No play, no land drop. So they are very afraid of this mana drain. Brian Weissman's talked about the fear of mana drain so often, and that your opponent knowing that you have it can make them make suboptimal plays, and this is definitely one of those situations. So it's fantastic for me. Find a Maze of Ith, don't need that yet, but I find land and a Thought Vessel. So I'm going to take 4 here, just to develop my mana more. And this lets me continue to keep up mana drain plus memory lapse. So I got to go up by 2 mana that turn. And that's because I took 8 last turn. I got to see that Thought Vessel and develop me further. Don't need the Confluence, don't need that. At this point, I'm starting to get worried about my life because I am down to 20. I've done 20 to myself. I'm also at the point where Jace is a secondary source of card advantage. I'm going to get Shackles down. I can try to get Amnesia to happen. Do I go for Amnesia this turn? No. Alright. So I put the Shackles down, and this is a further Kaalia deterrent. Even if she comes into play, I have Ponga. If I don't counter her with either Memory Lapse or Mana Drain, and my opponent somehow sneaks her through, I have Pongify or Vidalcan Shackles. And then on my turn, I have Jace or Sower of Temptation. I have so many answers for anything that my opponent could do. I don't think they're ever going to come back into this game. And they're on cleanup step pitching Yosei the Morningstar. Fine by me. See the copy artifact. I'm going to take another 4. Copy the Shackles for double insurance. It's possible I should have taken the Thought Vessel, copied the Thought Vessel just so I can ramp a little bit. But at this point in the game, I'm feeling pretty confident that my opponent's not going to be able to do anything. See some more lands, push back with something that's not the land. I'm taking the Forest just because if I shuffle for some reason, I want to be able to have a land trap next turn as well. Fix my mana for a sec, and Amnesia, my opponent's been playing nothing but land. Hasn't been playing anything. Did clean up last turn, then played a land. I know their hand is all non-lands. Amnesia them will be a Mind Twist. 6 mana, Mind Twist for 7. I like it. And my opponent promptly scoops the game, and I think that is right there. On my turn, my plan is deploy Jace and start Fate Sealing them, and I don't think they come. Or my next turn, I'm going to do Jace and start Fate Sealing them, so they will have 1 card, and if they ever cast a spell, I can Memory Lapse it back to the top and then Jace it away. And then eventually Jace will get to ultimate status, and that'll be the real end of the game. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Let's jump into the next game. All right. We'll take my loss last. I know you guys were asking about some of the losses that I take and why, and to be fair, I was just getting onto it, but alright, so my opponent, Laska Hunter, is playing Grand Arbiter Augustine IV, and I'm playing my Rashmi. Let's pop out Revealed. Alright, so this is definitely a control battle. If this was an island, I might have actually kept this hand. It was, because I would have been able to Island Sol Ring, copy artifact the Sol Ring, and be at 5 mana, 1 blue off turn 3 Jace, which is before Grand Arbiter comes down, which is a fantastic position to be in. But it's the Maze of Ith, no big deal. I'm going to ship the hand back, though. Alright, so I see Forest Island, Thrasios, pretty good at digging me out of these. Bribery, which isn't terribly good against a control match, but it could be decent. It's also Force Pitch fodder if I need it. Counterspell and Beast Within, so I have 2 pieces of interaction. So I decided to keep this hand. And I do get the Scry, push a Good Lotus to the bottom. My opponent does not have the Broken Start that Grand Arbiter likes to have. I get to Ponder off the top, and I jumped through that. It was Mystic Confluence, Hinterland Harbor, and some other non-land. And I decided to push it, mostly because if there were 2 lands in it, I would have kept it because it means I can play Thrasios and turn Thrasios on to start activating his ability. Or I can cast Rashmi when I get to 4 mana. Because if I have Thrasios' ability active, this Grand Arbiter tax isn't going to matter to me for very long. But because it was only a single land and 2 non-lands that I couldn't cast, I decided to push it and shuffle, and I get Tezzeret, which can be decent. If I can get Tezzeret down, he'll be able to fetch me the Sol Ring and the Mana Crypt. I pick up Force of Will. Alright, so this Bribery has instantly been earmarked as Force of Will fodder. And I'm just going to push the Thrasios out. My opponent still doesn't have any plays. Down to 4 cards. Did they mulligan? I think they mulligan to 5 this game. Sorry if I skipped that. Alright, come on. There we go. Why do I have to click so much? Are we bugged? Nope, we're not bugged. That's interesting. Why is this so large? Alright, back to it. I pick up a land off the top. Couldn't ask for a better top deck right there. And I'm just going to leave that. That's going to become the breeding pool on end step, or I can Beast Within if I so choose. It also gives me counterspell for this Grand Arbiter with Force of Will backup, so I don't have to spend the Force. Oop. My opponent 4 mana and just passes again. It's crazy. I mean, I guess I'm really representing counterspell with my mana here, but the Grand Arbiter decks are so reliant on their commander being in play to make the control matchup one-sided. I find it hard to believe that they are just letting it go. So I cast Fabricate here, and I figured this might be the thing that makes them want to do something. I no longer have blue mana, so this might be the bait. And sure enough, mana drain. So I'm going to force the mana drain here, and the reason for that is I could try to not force it, let it go, but I don't get to Fabricate then, and I can just force whatever they're going to use the mana drain mana on. In that situation, though, my opponent has more untapped blue mana than they do currently, and they will have had 1 additional draw step, plus potentially mana floating if they're just spending some of it, not all of the colorless. I decide that this is the turn. I want to stop the mana drain so that way they don't get that tempo play of getting ahead of me, because by stopping mana drain, it means I get to go get my mana crypt, and I go up to 5 mana to keep pace with them being at 5 after the land drop on their turn. Even though I'm going down the Force of Will and the Bribery, which, let's be fair, wasn't probably going to be cast this game at all, it means I get this mana crypt. Furthermore, I'm going to cast it this turn anyway. If they untap, play land, play Grand Arbiter, and they have 1 mana open, all I need to do is top deck a land, and I can cast Tezzeret through the Grand Arbiter and go and get the Salt Ring. Sure enough, they play the Grand Arbiter out. I lose some flips, play a Coast, drop Tezzeret, go get Soul Ring instantly, and pass the turn. And Thrasios does a pretty good job of holding off Grand Arbiter from attacking my Tezzeret, which is equally good. My opponent Detention Spheres my Tezzeret, which I can understand. An active Planeswalker makes control a nightmare, so they have to deal with him. Compulsive Research picks up some cards, pitches a planes, and ships the turn back to me. Now my plan is to Beast Within Detention Sphere on their next end step. Then I think about it, and come on, there we go. I pick up an island, and I go through combat, mana drain bluff, I guess. And I think about it for a second and realize I should just do this now. Like, there's no real harm in doing it now, other than the fact that I'm going to lose my Tezzeret in combat. I can live with that. Swan Song. I'm going to counter the Swan Song, kill the sphere, go and get the Shackles to be able to steal Grand Arbiter. They strip my breeding pool away, and this is what screwed me up. So I knew I had island count 3 for the Shackles, which is why I didn't mind the Beast Within, and they just reduced my island count by 1 also. They're going to 2 mana Ponder. Feels pretty good when I can turn Grand Arbiter on its head. And they offer me a chump block, which seems good to me. I just used Vidalcan Shackles as targeted removal on Grand Arbiter, which I'm okay with. I make another little bit of a blunder here. I think for a sec, decide to push out Rashi. My opponent's going to Spell Crumble. Alright, eat that out of the hand. Activate Tezzeret, and then activate Thrasios. And here's my mistake. I thought I still had a 3rd island in play, so I'm going to keep Simic Growth Chamber on top. And my mistake is what I bounce here, because I still have my land drop. I bounce an island, and then I replay an island, think about it, and I don't even realize it until now. I should have bounced the Farce and played an island, putting my count back up to 3. I would have been able to steal the Beast here and keep Tezzeret alive. You'll see my tap and untap there, and of course I lose Tezzeret because of that little blunder. Frozen Aether, I'm going to respond with Thrasios just in case I hit something that I want to respond with. No big deal. All right, my stuff's comes in tapped. At this point, I think my mana plus Thrasios is going to be the factor winning me the game. And I leave my mana open here because essentially this means I can either steal the beast because I have 5 or draw a card. And I'd rather just draw a card. I pay 4 life to draw a card with Sylvan Library all the time. 3 life is a pretty good deal to me. It also leaves my option of like draw into counterspell open. I'm gonna Shackles. I see Capture of Jing Zhao on top. I'm gonna take that for sure. And Evacuation feels pretty bad when you know I have Capture that's about to come into my hand. So Rashmi, Capture, Thrasios. I see my opponent's F6, so I just start going crazy. Thought Vessel, and I do not cast Rampant Growth here because I want to keep getting draw effects off of Rashmi. So if I cast Rampant Growth here and then I don't draw a spell, I don't get to draw a card off Rashmi next turn. It's not going to matter in the long run. I have so much mana, so this is just there to cycle out of my hand next turn now. My opponent goes into Day of Judgment. Pretty good. So I get to activate Thrasios, get a land into play. I think I bottomed an island and got Botanical Sanctum. Get a Brainstorm. I'll cast Brainstorm, see some stuff, put some lands back. So now I can also push one of those lands away with this Rampant Growth. No, I don't even, oh, I guess my thought was I'd rather have the land. I'm not sure. I should have cast Rampant Growth there to shuffle the land away. I get Eternal Witness off the Rashmi reveal, which should close out the game because I can Eternal Witness for Capture of Jing, and then Mystic Confluence, Eternal Witness, and then I have this Cryptic Witness, or Eternal Command, I guess is the modern combo of counter, counter, bounce my Witness, then play Witness, return Mystic Confluence, counter, counter, bounce my Witness, or counter, draw, bounce Witness. I have this loop. I will have this loop. My opponent doesn't know about Mystic Confluence yet. But I believe they scooped the game right. Yep, they scooped the game right here. And I think it's correct here. I'm at the point where they have no cards. The Grand Arbiter costs them 6 mana, which I'm surprised they didn't push out. But I'm just going to start running away with this game. And I'll be able to, the first time I cast Eat Witness, go and get Tezzeret. And then use Tezzeret to animate all of my artifacts at some point. Let's see. That'd be 3 turns. On my turn 3. So I could take 9 damage off Mana Crypt before that happens, which doesn't kill me. Mystic Confluence, bounce Eternal Witness, and the Mana Crypt back to my hand. So I even have a way out of losing to my own Mana Crypt here. And my opponent packs it in wisely. Let's get on to the game that I lost. All right, against Mirror. Very good. All right, I made a lot of misplays in this game, so don't get on me about them in the comments. I know I wasn't making optimal plays. I was sort of on autopilot for this game. So let's see. Vile Smasher the Fierce and Thrasios. So non-white, I see a serviceable opening hand. 2 islands, Vidalcan Shackles. That steals both of their either of their commanders, not both. Force Will to protect against an early crypt or something. Temple. All right. We just go back and forth for a while. They Green Sun for the Dryad Arbor, or the Birds of Paradise. I'm going to leave up Double Island. Shock off that and push Thrasios into play. That's fine. I could have Memory Lapse there. I didn't really want to. I decided to push the Shackles out, and they're going to remand the Shackles. I think about forcing that and decide not. Parallax Tide, and I'm glad I didn't force here. Parallax Tide, let me pause it. Has Fading 5, remove a fade, counter, exile the target land. Basically, what Parallax Tide is it Winter Orbs me for 2 or 3 turns, and it's just backbreaking. It absolutely is. I pick up Gilded Drake, so I'm going to steal that Thrasios, get some value going on my own side, and ship the turn back, and I'm going to keep holding up this lapse. I'll be taking damage off this, but that's okay. Command Tower off the top. I'm going to push Shackles out now that I have Shackles activation as well. They repeal Thrasios to their own hand. Here comes the Ready Ingenious Iconoclast. It doesn't have an artifact to sacrifice to kill my Shackles, though. So I'm going to take the Gilded Drake before combat, so my opponent can't hit me with it. And then killed the ready. And I think this was... Did I make... Oh, no. So I cast Amnesia on my opponent, and my opponent has Flusterstorm. I was going to say, I think I cast Amnesia here. Really good card. I'm a big fan of Flusterstorm, and it just stops my Amnesia cold. I mean, at this point, it was have it or lose the game, basically. Because they're going to have Sacrifice Duretti with their -1 to kill Shackles to even get Gilded Drake back. Next turn, if I draw a land, I have Cyclonic Rift, bouncing their commanders, which they'll most likely... One or both of their commanders, which they'll most likely play, back to their hand, and my Gilded Drake. And then I'll sit on the Gilded Drake, cast Rashi, and the game's going to be over in short order after that. So this was the turn for them to have Counterspell, and they did have it. Well on you, opponent. So my opponent sacrifices Duretti, got to kill the Shackles. I agree with that. Merchant Scroll for their Force of Will, and cast Hermit Druid. And instantly I recognize, alright, so that's a Hermit Druid build. They don't have any basics, and I'm expecting this to kill me on my next turn. And I'm really hoping to top deck something. I top deck Counterspell. So even though I could Counterspell plus Memory Lapse through this force, I'm not going to win the game if I'm just sitting on counters. They're already ahead on board. They're beating me with a Gilded Drake. I'm not winning that game. I need to get more value than they're getting, which means I have to go pseudo shields down here for a moment and hope it doesn't kill me. My opponent puts Vial Smasher into play. Gilded Drake in. Temporal Manipulation, pretty spicy card. I'm going to cast that. Get something off Rashi, get a land, useful. And they're going to force the Temporal, understandably. I'm going to play a land, and that is actually one of my better top decks there because it means I still have Memory Lapse or Counterspell. My opponent is going to... They got a Minamo. Flash of Insight X0, and this is what should have been my first clue. Look at the top X cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library, in any order, flashback. So they're looking at the top 0 cards of their library. But it's an X spell, right? That works with Violet. They can dump a bunch of mana into it. And I don't think about flashback on it. I was too focused on the fact that I'm going to lose to, like, Hermit Druid Dread Return. I didn't think about losing to Hermit Druid flashback Flash of Insight. God. It was just a dirty game. I got Sensei's top, push Signet out, and I think I'm in decent shape here. I know they have Force. Oh, no, they used the Force, didn't they? Yeah. So, I think I'm okay. Mystical Tutor. Okay. What are you going to get? Get the Mana Drain. Main 1. Activate Hermit Druid. Dump everything. Let's dismiss that. So, let me pop this out. We can take a look at the deck list. Yeah, for anyone who wants to see it. Their exile card is a Mystic Confluence. So if you're a fan of Vial Smasher Thrasios, this is most of their entire deck list. Remember, they have the Thrasios in their hand and 3 unknown cards. But it's a very cool deck. I was very taken with it once I saw this flip over. I knew I was most likely dead, but I was waiting for them to cast a spell so I could counter it, and I didn't think about that stupid Flash of Insight. Well played, though, by the opponent. So if I was smart, I would have been able to, in response to Hermit Druid activating, bounce Vial Smasher to their hand. And then if they didn't have a land drop, they would be able to play Vial Smash. Or, sorry, they have to Mana Drain me. I counter Mana Drain with Counterspell. Yeah, because I don't want it to go back on top of their deck. I want them to die on their next turn. And then I think I didn't get to see the top of my... Oh, no, I activate top here in a sec. So I should have Cyclonic Rift the Vial Smasher in response to Hermit Druid. They would have had 4 mana, 3. They would Mana Drain, I counter back. I would have no mana open. Vial Smasher would come down. And they'd have 1 mana available. And no land, notably. So, they take a sec. Let's see. Hold on. It should work if I could just click play. There we go. So I didn't want to jump through the top. So my top of the deck was skint nothing. Okay, so if I had bounced this back, they would have been at before they could have activated this. I would have been in much better shape. But it's an activated ability, man. I'm just or triggered ability. I'm just skint dead here, and good on the opponent. I did not see the flash of insight Vial Smasher kill coming, and it's pretty spicy brew. I think it might. It might push Vial Smasher into a little bit more meta. That said, Hermit Druid decks have fallen out of competitive parlance nowadays. They're still very good. It's just most don't see them as tier 1 anymore. I mean, that's probably a good thing for Hermit Druid decks also. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a little bit of a longer one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video to anyone you think might enjoy. Let me know in the comments down below what misplays I made besides this massive egregious one here, not responding to the Hermit Druid. I was expecting the Laboratory Maniac kill after Hermit Druid, and I was going to Psych Rift Labman with counter backup was my plan, but man, they got me with this flash of insight. It was a pretty cool game. Good on you, Mir. All right, see you all in the next one.